Hi everyone. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining us for today's webinar on building landing pages with WordPress. My name is Rob Howard and I'm the founder of DailyStory. And in today's 30-minute webinar, I'm going to show you how you can turn any page or post on your WordPress website into a landing page with a full customer follow-up campaign with almost zero code required. So it's a really great example of how you can use some of the software and tools that we're creating with DailyStory to make it super easy to build solutions integrated with WordPress. And WordPress is just one of the integrations that we offer. So to begin with, a little bit about DailyStory. So we're a solution specifically that helps you know how your visitors become customers. We provide a lot of solutions that look at and analyze the traffic on your website, track visitors through the conversion process, and ultimately back into your sales and help you identify where and how you acquired those customers. Now, we also provide a number of capabilities along the way that make that super simple. So we've got things like exit intent, visitor tracking, web forms, a number of other features. Chat is actually coming. And a lot of other things that we're actually adding into the platform. So we're officially going to be launching here in about another 4 weeks, and I'm really excited to kind of get version 1 out and available publicly. So today I'm just going to show you some of the things that we've been working on. So our WordPress integration is amazingly simple. So if you're running WordPress and you want to use DailyStory, you're going to find that these two software products work amazingly well together. So first and foremost, our WordPress integration starts with a simple plugin that you go into WordPress, you browse through the WordPress plugin gallery, you find the DailyStory plugin, and you add it to your website. Now, I'll show an example of that in a second. Once that plugin is installed in your website, in your WordPress website, we will automatically start looking and tracking at visitor information, and then also provide you with a number of shortcodes that enable you to do things like create exit intent pop-ups, welcome mats, and web forms, which is really what we're going to be focusing on today. And what you can do with web forms is you can really turn any page or post in your WordPress site into a landing page with really zero effort. Very, very simple, and we'll show some examples of that. So with that, let's get started, and I'll flip on over to our demo. And just before I get to the demo, let me just preview what we're going to talk about today. So I've got a fictional website called Adventure Travel, and their situation is they've got lots of great content, they've got lots of traffic, but they're really not converting those visitor page views into customers, so they're not capturing that information. So one of the things that we'll look at here is how can we make it super simple for this company, Adventure Travel, to start capturing some of the activity that's happening on their website and track that behavior all the way through the sales process. Okay, so to do that, what I've put together is I've put together a very simple WordPress website, and I've got a single post in that WordPress website right now. I'm sorry, actually it's a single page. So that page is top 3 travel destinations for adventurers. Now this just happens to be one of Adventure Travel's most popular pages. It gets a tremendous amount of traffic. A lot of people come in, view this content, get really excited about some of these different trips that Adventure Travel has put together. But Adventure Travel isn't really providing them with a next step. So what we would like to do here is at the bottom, when they come to the bottom of this page, we would like to actually promote a newsletter sign up. And with that newsletter sign up, possibly also offer them an opportunity to receive more of these adventure travel destinations that we've put together. So let's go about setting that up. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go over and create an account in DailyStory. Now, I've already got an account, and I'm just going to go ahead and log into it. This is one of my demo accounts. And once I've logged into my demo account, I can go through DailyStory and I can start tracking all the information that's collecting about visitors and traffic and other information. Now, it just so happens that I've also gone ahead and pre-created a campaign. So the campaign that I created that we'll use in this example is called the newsletter campaign. And I can click through in the newsletter campaign, and I can see that right now I have no leads. I really have no activity. Nothing's happening in this campaign. If I click on leads, I'll see that there are no leads that have been created for this campaign yet. If I go into workflow, there's no workflow, there's no automation, there's no scoring. So it's essentially an empty campaign. And in DailyStory, a campaign is really used to capture and manage all the activity that happens with your visitors once they convert over. Now, the next thing that I want to go do, obviously, is build a form. And that form is a web form. I'm going to go over, navigate over to Acquisition Web Forms, and I've gone ahead and pre-created a form called Sign Up for Our Newsletter. Forms in DailyStory are really simple. All you do is you provide them with a name, a brief description, which is optional, and then you can come into this form designer and really lay out your form. So you can drag and drop, you can rearrange the form elements. The form designer is really meant for providing some quick insight into what your form is going to look like, the ordering of the form, whether or not you're going to show labels, those types of things. Next, you can choose options for the form. So for example, in this particular case, when this form is submitted, I want it to go to another page. In this case, I'm going to have it post to the WordPress demo website that I've created. And I'm also going to, we'll come back to Recaptcha in a second, and I'm also going to see that I have a sign up call to action. That's the button down here. So I'll go ahead and save that. And what happens now is once my form is published, I can actually go ahead and start using it. So I'm going to click on this preview link. This is actually going to open up another tab within that's hosted and managed by DailyStory that automatically provides a landing page for your form. So if you were to do nothing else, you already have a sign up page for your form where people can fill it out. It will go to a thank you page, which is also just hosted on my WordPress site. And I can go ahead and fill out information here. So I can go ahead and fill out Rob Howard, rob@dailystory.com, and we'll go ahead and sign up. Okay. And that redirects me to my thank you page, as you can see there. So thank you for signing up. Fantastic. Okay, so that's the basic form. Now, the next thing I want my form to do is I want it to send a welcome email. So for example, when people sign up for this, I obviously want to say, hey, thanks for signing up for our newsletter. Here's some information about the timing of the newsletter and how often you should expect to receive it. So to do that, I'm going to go over to Content, Emails. So the first thing I want to do is create a follow-up email. And I've got a bunch of sample content in here. The one we're looking for is this, thanks for signing up for our newsletter. So I'll go ahead and click on that. So this is a sample email that I've drafted up that says, it's from Adventure Travel, says thanks for signing up for our newsletter. Hi, FName. This is actually doing a replacement if we have the user's first name. Thanks for signing up for our newsletter, etc., etc. All this is doing is simply confirming that the visitor who signed up has in fact signed up for our newsletter. We're sending them a confirmation email. So let's look at how we actually send them this auto response confirmation email. To do that, I'll go back to my campaign and we'll go into newsletter and we'll go over to workflow. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new workflow called send an email. And it immediately found our thanks for signing up for our newsletter. I'll configure it to send immediately and off we'll go. Now I can also do other things here. For example, I could send a series of welcome emails. I could go ahead and add you to a MailChimp list, so using our MailChimp integration or integration with other systems. But for now, we're just going to send that lead an email. I'll click save. Okay, so what happens now is previously when we used our sign up form that we just designed and created and that DailyStory provided for us, we filled out some information, we submitted it, and it just sent us to a thank you page. Now, when people fill out that same form, it is going to first send them a email that says, hey, welcome to our newsletter, and then it could do a number of other things from Slack integration to MailChimp integration, Salesforce integration, you kind of name it. So this workflow is really for you to decide what needs to happen in the course of your communication with a customer. Now, another example of this would be you could use it for a squeeze page. So for example, let's say you've got a PDF that has the top 10 travel destination trips. So it actually outlines what those trips look like. You could actually send another email where when people sign up for your newsletter, you actually can publish that PDF and send a link to that PDF to them. So using that again as a squeeze page to really get some people signed up for your campaigns. Okay, so that's all well and good. We've shown the examples of what it looks like in DailyStory, and after a few minutes, that lead that we created will actually come trickling in. It runs on about a 5 or 6 minute delay. But now let's go over and look at the WordPress integration, because I know that's what everyone really cares about. So again, here's our WordPress post that is really popular, that a lot of people come and visit. Great piece of content, getting a lot of traffic, but we're not really getting signups off of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to another tab in WordPress where I've already logged in. And what I've done is I've installed, as you can see, the DailyStory Customer Engagement plugin. Now that plugin is really simple to install. It only has one setting, which is your DailyStory site ID. You just basically go in, drop that value in, click Save, and you're done. At that point, all the functionality of DailyStory is available to you in WordPress. Okay, now let's go to another screen. This is the edit screen for our top 3 destinations for adventurers, that really popular post that we have on our site. What we want to do is we want to add the DailyStory web form for newsletter sign up to the footer of this page. So when someone comes to the end of this content and says, hey, this was really great, how can I learn more? They can immediately sign up for our newsletter. So let me just show you how easy that is. So I'm going to do one thing real quickly. I'm going to go back to DailyStory. I'm going to go back to our newsletter web form. And I'll just land here real quickly so everyone can catch up. And you'll see on the right-hand side, there's this ID called Form ID. So we're just going to copy that value. So we're going to copy that value. Then I'm going to go back to the edit experience in WordPress, and I'm going to scroll to the bottom of the page. Now I'm going to use a WordPress shortcode that DailyStory provides to include our form. So to do that, I'll start with a bracket, and I'll say DS, which stands for DailyStory, dash web form, ID equals, and there's the ID of that form we wanted to include. Okay, so that's it. I'll click Update on our form, and then I'm going to go back over to the actual published page and hit refresh. And what we should see here is after I refresh the screen and scroll to the bottom, there's my form. So right now it's not a very pretty form. It's basically asking for name, email, and sign up. And what I really want to do is make this a little prettier. What I want to add also is I want to add support for Recaptcha. So that's that nice little box that basically says, are you a human or not, before you submit our form, which prevents spamming. So before we make changes to our form, let's go add Recaptcha. So I'm going to go back over to DailyStory, and I'm going to navigate over to the back end where I can configure some integrations. So I'm going to click on Integrations, and here is the Google Recaptcha integration, and I've got these values already pre-published. Let me grab those real quick, and these are just demo values, so I can paste that in there, and oops, it's good. Grab that value and paste that in there and click Save. Okay, so now Google Recaptcha is enabled, that integration is enabled for DailyStory. I'm going to click Back to App, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to our web form, our newsletter web form, sign up for our newsletter, and I want to make one other change. I'm going to go down here and tick this box that says Use Recaptcha. Click Save. Okay, so that's saved. Now I'm going to go back to my blog, my popular post. I'm going to hit refresh, and I now have Recaptcha support added into that form. And all that does is it makes sure that when someone is completing the form, which we'll do in a second, that it is not a robot. Basically, it's a test to make sure it's a human completing the form. So right now, our form isn't that pretty. I do want to point out that this isn't using any technology like iframes. This is actually straight HTML that's injected into your page. which is part of the beauty of this integration with WordPress. But let's make our form a little prettier. I mean, I kind of want to simplify this. Want to get rid of this rounded edges around the form. Maybe make this on one line so it's a nice, cleaner sign-up form. So to do that, I'm going to go over to our theme editor for WordPress, and I'm going to copy just a little bit of style sheet code. So let's just go ahead and grab this style sheet code, just because I want to show that you can actually style it directly in line. So there are some style elements that we've added, so you can see those. I'll click Update File. And once that is updated, I'm going to come back over to my travel post and refresh. And I need to, let's just do one thing real quick here because it's not refreshing the style sheet. So let's cheat a little bit and force it to reload. And let's make sure it got loaded up because it's all the way at the bottom. It didn't, so let's hit refresh again. And there's our daily story style sheet information. And let's click refresh on this guy again. That's just some of the joys of page caching and in technology. There we go. Okay, so refresh, did a hard refresh, got that nice style to show up, and as you can see now we have a more nicely styled form that's directly inline. Now the beauty of this is you don't have to just put this inside of at the footer. You can actually put this anywhere in your content, meaning that you could put it in the middle of your piece of content. You can have multiple forms in your content. It doesn't matter. It does mean that you could take any WordPress page or post or any other piece of content you have and easily integrate it into here. We also do things like exit intent. So when someone's leaving the site, it actually does a pop-up. I don't have that enabled here, but that's another example. So let's go ahead and fill out this form again. So I'm going to go ahead and say Rob Howard, Rob at DailyStory.com. I'm going to tick the I'm not a robot. It might do a verification check. Nope, cleared me. Click sign up. And off we go to the thank you page where it says we've signed you up for our newsletter. We've also sent you a list of our top 100 travel destinations for adventures just like you. Here's kind of a preview to get you started. So that was super simple, right? So the next thing that we want to do is let's go back over and see if any of our leads have actually shown up inside of Daily Story yet. So let's go back to all campaigns and go to newsletter and leads. Looks like our leads haven't shown up yet, so they're probably a little bit behind. If we gave it a few more minutes, those leads would come through. And just to give you an idea what that looks like, I can click into a lead. For example, here's one of myself doing some unit testing, and the lead information provides a lot of insight into emails that we've sent, page views, visits, location, all that type of information. All this is exportable. We provide all that detail. You can export it. We also integrate directly with Salesforce. So if you wanted to integrate this into Salesforce, you could do so very easily. Okay, so that's those are the highlights of the WordPress integration. I think the interesting thing here also that I should point out is that if you wanted to, you could come in and build a squeeze page fairly easily within WordPress. So a squeeze page is nothing more than a landing page with a form on it that has an offer where you're trying to get a newsletter sign up or something else from some of your visitors. And we do make that simple. So again, you can take any page or post in WordPress and add that functionality in. Okay, so that's really the highlights of today's webinar. Again, we help you convert today's visitors into tomorrow's customer, and we've made that integration with WordPress super simple. You can go up to the WordPress plugin gallery, browse for it, find the Daily Story or WordPress plugin, install it, give it a try. We'd love your feedback if you have ideas or suggestions of things that we should include in that plugin. We do have some other capabilities in there, including our exit intent functionality. and we'll continue to work on it. We also have it open source, so you can actually go to if you go to our website, and if you're a developer and you go into GitHub, you can find the open source code for our WordPress plugin. Okay, with that, I'd love to take any questions that people may have. Okay, I've got a couple here. 1 second, let me read through this. Okay, so Alex asks, what is exit intent and how would I use that? Okay, so good question, Alex. Let me just give you an example real quickly. We might actually be able to turn it on to our website pretty quickly. So let's go over to pop-up offers, and I'll try to briefly explain what that is. So exit intent is functionality that examines when a visitor is leaving your website and provides a pop-up to them. So a great example for the use of this would be on that adventure travel post. When someone is reading that piece of content and they decide not to sign up for your newsletter, maybe they don't get all the way to the bottom, maybe they don't see it, and they're exiting the site, this is a pop-up that shows up and basically says, hey, before you leave, we'd love to sign you up for our newsletter or offer you something else. So here's one of the example pop-ups I've already built. Actually, let me go back. I have a better example. So here's one that would be perfect for adventure travel. It says 30% off 3-night stays, valid on stays Sunday through Thursday. And essentially what this is a pop-up that shows as the visitor's leaving that they could use to claim a coupon, sign up for a newsletter. You can add form fields in here, so I can click on form fields and ask for email address and capture that visitor before they leave your site. So let's just look at a quick example of how that would actually work. So here's one of our test pages you can use for testing a pop-up. And what will happen is it will actually pop up that element. So the idea is that as someone is leaving, it shows this, and you can interact with them and really get some information out about what is happening with that visitor. Like, why are they leaving? Possibly capture them so that you can sign them up for your newsletter or some other offers that you're making available. But it's a great way to really quickly capture people that may be leaving your site. So great asset. Okay. Let's see. Any more questions? No? Okay, well, again, thanks everyone for joining today's webinar. I hope it was useful. If you have any questions for me, you can email me at rob@dailystory.com or email our team at hello@dailystory.com. So thank you, and look forward to hearing from you. Bye.